Happy New Year to everybody. I'm excited to be back. I missed everyone. Hope you had a great holiday season and ready to start a new year. I personally guarantee 2021 is going to be better than 2020. Um, so you can hold me personally responsible. So it's good to be back, ready to get back in. I feel a little refreshed and ready to start 2021 with a bang. So a few things we're going to talk about this year or this week. We do have a bid buy monthly training next week on January 13th. We also will have a specific vendor training that's for small business vendors, how to enroll in small business, set for also January 13th. I just wanted to provide that information to you guys so that potentially you could let vendors know. We did have a notice that did go out, and I'll have that information for you as well. But it's always just good to know that if you guys get questions or whatever from vendors, that there will be a short training from our small business specialist, Andrew Shackelford, regarding how to be enrolled in the Small Business Set Aside program. Also, we have a new series, at least for the short term. I'm calling it a Back to Basics series. So one challenge doing a weekly training like this is we do have some folks that maybe they just started in procurement this week or a month ago, and we'll also have those seasoned professionals that have been in procurement for years. So many times we may be hitting certain topics that are a little too much of a deep dive for some folks, whereas sometimes we'll touch on something that is a very foundational type topic that many of you are well versed in, but maybe somebody who has just joined procurement or maybe has added some particular responsibilities to their job just recently, and that's information that they need to know too. So I'm constantly trying to thread that needle, and I want to make sure that this is a value for everyone, because I know everybody is very, very busy. So that's partly why these Training Tuesdays are fairly short. They're just a quick little touch point that we can provide updated information in real time if there are some things that are happening new, but also just kind of go back and refresh or touch on some of these basic topics for those newer folks. So this Back to Basics series is maybe a bit of a review for some of you, but I think it's really important. So we'll touch on that each week. The original intention was just for January or maybe February, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and if it's a value to folks, we'll continue to add that. And then our fun fact of the day, and also I wanted to add a quote of the day. So we'll have a quote of the day each week as well. Okay, so first up, our monthly bid buy training will continue to be offered the second Wednesday of each month. So our next training will be next Wednesday, January 13th. This is an all-day training for those of you that do not have access to bid buy yet, which is our e-procurement system. You must go through training in order to receive access to the system. And so this is the training that's for you. It's an all-day training. We are changing up the agenda slightly just for the times. Recently, as of last year, God, that feels weird saying last year. Way back last year, we started at 9:30. I'm going to bump it up to 9 a.m. now, just to provide a little bit more time, and as well as we can provide a little bit more of a break in between some sessions. So 9 a.m. we'll start, and so it is a new WebEx as well, a new link. So if you have had saved a previous link because it was the same link last year from month to month, we do have a new link this year, as well as we're going to be posting it on the calendar of events page on the CPO-GS website. So we have the link here, but 9 a.m. we're just going to do a general navigation, overview of what the system is, a little bit of a history behind it, go through some slides, take a break. 10:15 we'll do a small purchase under $10,000. We'll do a small purchase $10,000 and over session, and then end with a release off master session. And so really what we do is normally in a normal world, and hopefully fingers crossed at some point we'll get back to this, is we would all be in one room together. We can work through specific examples and really get you guys into the system immediately working through these things. Of course, we can't do that right now. So we walk through using our job aids, and we talk about the importance of those job aids, and we walk through those specific procurement types. And so we want to allow you the opportunity to be able to walk through those as well. So we take a little bit break in between so that you can do that, or you can also always utilize the train environment yourself as well. So, like I said, we have the link to the calendar of events page. It's on the front page of the CPO-GS website, and we'll walk through that in just a minute as well. But it is a new link, so just want to be very clear that, and I will be sending this around to all APOs and SPOs, but there is a new link for this year. Okay, next up, our vendor training. So enrolling in small business, the SBSP, which is a small business set-aside program, there will be a training conducted by our small business specialist, Andrew Shackelford, next Wednesday, January 13th at 10:30 a.m. There is a WebEx. Here's some information. Also, I will, as a part of this, what I always send out. So for those of you that are new, if you're on the Training Tuesday today, I always send out the slides as well as the recording as soon as it's done being rendered by WebEx. So if you're on this call today, you'll receive an email from me, most likely later on today, with that. And that's what we do every week. Also, it lives, the slides and the recording live on our training center as well on the CPO-GS website, which I'll show you in just a second. But also, as a part of that email, you'll receive from time to time, if we have a new form or we have something like this where I have actually a Word document that has all of this training information, WebEx information that you could then forward to a vendor or if they ask, or you could potentially just send it out as well. They did receive, there was a notice that went out on BidBuy regarding this training. However, it would be easy to have that Word document, so I'll send that to you guys. As always, we always want as many vendors in our small business set-aside program as possible, because as you know, for your small purchases and for those NIGP codes that are set aside for our small businesses, even within those small purchases or those set-asides, we want as much competition as possible. That's always the spirit of Illinois procurement, as well as the CPO-GS website, is transparency and competition. Those are the two main pillars. So we want as many of those small businesses as we can. Many times we see that vendors, or we find that vendors don't even realize that they qualify for this program. Maybe they don't see the value in it or understand the value in it, that they would be competing just with other small businesses. So just as always, it's a new year, so we get another chance to go out and do outreach for our small businesses or to our small businesses. And that also helps with pricing, helps with competition, of course, and it's just kind of a win-win all around. So this is just one more opportunity for our small businesses to be in the program. Many times they think, well, yeah, I'm a small business, but they're not enrolled or registered in the small business set-aside program. Okay, next up. So I briefly touched on this, our Back to Basics series. So we'll choose one basic or foundational topic per week to discuss. I like having this series there because, as I talked about before, we have many people that are always coming into procurement. They're new, and this is an opportunity for us to provide some resources as well as provide training on some of those basics. So this week, we're just going to touch on a brief overview on the CPO-GS. Really great place to start. I think anybody in procurement in Illinois should have this as a favorite in their browser. The CPO-GS website. So we won't do a deep dive on these topics because, like I said, I want to provide value for those folks that maybe are a little bit more seasoned in the procurement realm, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're not leaving anybody behind. So back to basics. This week, we're going to touch on the CPO-GS website. And then we'll get to our fun fact of the day and our quote of the day. So CPO-GS website. So like I said, I put that as one of my favorites because I'm on this page every single day. I'm not going to do a deep dive, but I do want to just touch on a few highlights, and then you can go in and click through and learn a little bit more about the system on your own. So a few of the things that I want to highlight first off is statutes and rules. We have links to the Illinois Procurement Code. as well as to our administrative code, or we call it rules, BEP Act, Joint Purchasing Act. So these are our statutes and rules that we guide and abide by. And so I also just have the code and rule also as a quick, as a favorite as well. So I just always have that right there because many times I, of course, don't have the code memorized like some of you geniuses out there. So I need to go back and refer to it all the time. So there's the code, and then I have JCAR rules as well. Okay. So that's our statutes and rules. A couple other things I want to highlight for sure. Publications and reports. We have an annual year in review, annual reports that are required each year. Those are kind of cool to go back and take a look at. So the FY21, I would suggest going and take a look at that. It gives a broad highlight, an overview of what the CPO-GS office does and how we operate, and there's some great information in there as well. Links, you have some links to some of the to AG's office, Secretary of State, Treasurer, Comptroller, all those sorts of things there. Jobs, whenever there are position postings for the CPO-GS, there are posted out there as well. So you can see currently we do have 2 positions that are available. And let me go back. And then a couple other things I want to hit on. So we have the training center, which I talked about before. The training center, if you click on the bulb with the brain in it, this is where our Training Tuesdays live. So if you click on Training Tuesdays, you're going to see that you also have the link every week. So if anybody is interested in joining us, we don't specifically have a like Outlook invite. I want to leave it open to anybody. So anybody who can you can click on this and then make it in your own calendar if you'd like to each week. And then this is where we have all of the other Training Tuesday content. So anything that was attached, so we have the slides and the recording, and then every once in a while we'll have, if we have a new form or something, we might attach it there, or any other additional documents could be attached there. So they're by date and then title too. So even if you are new, I would suggest in your free time going back and taking a look at some of these previous presentations. Every once in a while we'll have a guest speaker. So for instance, if you I wanted to highlight the UP presentation that was done by Alex Wilson. That was fantastic. So if you need some information regarding the UP program, that's a great place to start. As well as, just going back and taking a look at some of these titles too. So it will just give you kind of a foundational, some information there regarding what we talked about going back, 16, 17 months or so now. Okay, so those are our Training Tuesdays. Bid by version 15 training videos. We have a couple of videos in there regarding general navigation, as well as our monthly bid buy training. And let me get back down to the bottom. So the last couple of things I want to highlight for sure would be bid buy. If you click on the bid buy link there, and then you have the contact information for the internal users, so our state users, our state user bid buy help desk. Contact information is there. And then we do have bid buy resources for vendors or bid buy resources for state agencies. So the state agencies, this is going to get us to the page that has all the job aids. So I'm not sure if you can see it. It's probably pretty small, but what I do is I favorited this as well, because I go back to this page all the time for our job aids. So I put that as a favorite in my browser as well. Okay, so something else I wanted to touch on would be the procurement resources library. So this is where all of the templates and forms, as well as CPO notices and some other forms, are all going to be there. So I'm not going to do a deep dive in there, but just as a reminder, all of your forms, you want to go in and take a look at the solicitation and contract templates and forms. All of those are all right there. And always go back and make sure you're utilizing the most recent version, or as just a best practice, just go in every time. If you need to do an IFB, just go into this document or this page, click on the IFB document, and there you go. Okay, so that's our procurement resource library. And small business set-aside program, you click on that, have some information there, as well as the unified procurement program, or UP, any of your joint purchasing. You can click on that and has a lot more information regarding that as well, and processes and forms. And like I said, if you have any questions regarding the UP program and what that is, I definitely recommend going back to that Training Tuesday and taking a look at the presentation by Alex Wilson. I thought that was fantastic. Okay, so like I said, on your, go in and dig around a little bit and look around. If you're new, there's a lot of information on that website that can be very helpful. Favorite it, put it in your browser, and that'll be there for you when you need it. Okay, so next week we'll have a different back to basics topic, as well as probably some more FAQs, those sorts of things. I was gone, so we didn't have any real FAQ questions. And so finally, here's just a reminder for the new year. Agency-specific training is available upon request. So if there's anything, we do touch on specific things here, but maybe your agency wants specific training on maybe a specific procurement type, or something in bid buy, or if there's a potential issue that maybe something keeps happening or occurring, certain errors or something, anything that we can do to aid your agency, we can do it very specific, so it's not on a Training Tuesday. We can do it anytime. Just contact cpogs.training@illinois.gov or me at david.latrell@illinois.gov. So just as a reminder, that's always available for you or for your agencies. All right, do we have any questions? Nope. All right, so for our fun fact of the day, today, on this day, 1920, the New York Yankees announced its purchase of Babe Ruth from the Boston Red Sox for a reported $125,000. Throughout the rest of the 20th century, the legacy of this lopsided trade continued to hover over Major League Baseball as the Yankees won a dominating 39 AL pennants and 26 World Series titles, and the Sox went 86 years without a World Series win. A caveat, I must say, the 86 years ended when the Sox swept my beloved St. Louis Cardinals in 2004. That was a heartbreaker. Anyway, this became known as the Curse of the Bambino. And for our new selection this year, I wanted to add a quote of the day each week, just something to kind of think about as your day goes on. So keep your thoughts positive because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive because your behavior becomes your habits. Keep your habits positive because your habits become your values. Keep your values positive because your values become your destiny. Mahatma Gandhi. So I'm going to try to keep the cheese factor low for these quotes of the day, but as many of you may know, I tend to be kind of a cheesy guy sometimes, so that's just going to have to be the way it is. So your quote of the day. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me as always, and have a great start to your 2021. It's going to be a great year, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.